Hello and welcome to this video where we're going to take a look at using the performance controls to control multiple controls at once in Voltage Modular. So going to do this by increasing the complexity of this synth somewhat and then using this to control the mixer that's going to mix the signals. So first things first, I'm just going to tidy up a little. I'm going to move the envelope generators and filter and amplifier down to here. They're not really the subject of what we're doing today. Then I'm going to grab the extra modules I need. Just going to move this mixer across. Grab another oscillator and add in a few more mixers. So now I'm done with that. I can close the module browser with Command 1 on the Mac or Control 1 on PC. And just zoom in a little. So we're not really going to be doing much with this bottom row, so we'll just make it so we can see this a little better. Now I'm just going to disconnect this mixer at the moment so we can get a better idea of what's going on. So my idea here is what I'm going to do is have these three oscillators playing with one at 32 feet, one at 16 and one at 8. Just going to connect up the third oscillator so it is also going to play. So my idea here is that these mixers, each one of these mixers is going to be per oscillator and we're going to have different waveforms on them. So I'm going to have the sawtooth, the square and the sine. And then each of these mixers is then going to have a volume control. So it's going to feed into this mixer and then out to the filter. So you'll have a control to hear each oscillator, but also a control to pick what waveforms you're hearing. So this is a slightly different way than you have on most synths, but I thought it would make a good way of seeing how to use the performance control. So first things first, I'm going to wire it up. So the sine output, the sawtooth output is going to go to input 1, the square, input 2, and then the sine, input 3. And I'm going to repeat that on the other two mixers because I want them to do the same thing. So again, this one's for the third one, and then just control like that. So now we've got three mixers being fed by that. The master of this is going to go into the input 1 of this submixer. The master of this one is going to go into input 2, and then the master of this one's going to go into input 3. And finally, the master out of that is going to go into our filter. So playing this now, we get three waveforms from three oscillators at equal volume, which has got a particular sound to it, certainly, but we want to be able to control these. Now, you could obviously control these individually. It could get a bit tedious, but the way we're going to look at it, how to use the performance controls, is by controlling all three of these simultaneously. And it's pretty easy to do in Voltage Modular. You just right-click or two-finger tap on a control in question, and then pick the control you want it to be assigned to. So I'm going to pick knob 1 for this one, and I'm going to pick knob 1 for this one as well, and for this one. So you see that knob 1's name has changed to input 1 level, and now we're going to change that to saw. Knob 2, same for row 2 here, so that's all going to be assigned to knob 2. So call that square. And then number 3, knob 3. Assign that on the others as well. And then change that to sine. Okay, so now we've got those set up. When we alter these controls here, you can see they all change. We get this tooltip on there, but you can see that they're changing. Those three are changing. And these three are changing. So we can control three of them at once. Now you can do this with multiple controls. You can just keep adding them. What we want to do is also have control of this. So this is the balance between the oscillators. Now, clearly you could control this just using this control, but often, particularly if you come back to a complicated patch, sometimes it's a bit of a head scratcher and you say, what the hell was I doing? So I think it's a good idea if you get some controls which are like the best ones, your sort of greatest hits of tweaking, assign these to performance controls up here, because then when you reload it, you'll know that these are the ones that you want to use, and the others, you know, they may be important, but they're probably less important than this. So I'm going to assign this one to knob 4, this one to knob 5, and this one to knob 6. And then I'm going to call them 32 foot, 16 foot, and 8 foot. So we know which oscillators they are doing. And now we can control their levels. So here we'll only hear the 32 foot oscillator. And then now we're only hearing the 32 foot square wave. And we can add in the 16 and an 8. So it's a different way of controlling this. This isn't something I've seen on any other synths, because normally you get, in some ways, more control, but in other ways less control, because this is sort of ganging things together. But most importantly, that's showing you how you can use the performance controls both to control multiple parameters at the same time, but also to mean that when you come back to seeing this, you'll know that these were your sort of favorite controls. So you probably add in, you know, cutoff and resonance, and then you've got all these straight away that you can access as soon as you load the patch up, and you can start being creative again. So I hope you found that useful, and I'll see you again soon.